must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
All of us agree, from Professor Onyali, Madame Miriam Ogutu, Daniel Songa, and Karen Joseph, that the only way Malawi can come out of the politics it has been through is unity. Unity of purpose. The new president should unite all Malawians, bring them on board, forget the past, do accountability, which is very, very important, which brings in the points that we have captured here, where Miriam, as a presenter, said accountability, the former chairperson should be accountable for some of the crimes that were committed under her watch. It is therefore very important, as we summarize this show, to urge, to encourage President Dr. Razarias that you have been in Kenya for some time. You know how Kenyans went through some of these difficulties. Embrace the role of a united Malawi. Forgive, shake hands with your opponent, the one you defeated with 3.2 million votes. Let him feel that all the people of Malawi are on board. Take accountability as the root. Don't take retributive justice. Take justice, restorative root of justice that can bring Malawi back to the days of Dr. Hastings, Dr. Kamuzi Banda, when Malawi income in Blantyre was the heaven of African people for honeymoon. I just want to ask you, on behalf of this show, on behalf of Punchline, to take one step forward to reconcile with your former president. Don't take immunity, don't be harsh, don't create gaps of insecurity before you take off. Let the car have engine oil, be hot before you become the driver. Thank you very much. God bless you. That's my takeaway. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting all the way from the Republic of Kenya, away from the headquarters of Punchline Africa Television in Nairobi. Good afternoon, Miriam. Good afternoon, all of you in the studios.
Mm-hmm. A very good afternoon to you, Doctor, and a very good afternoon to our viewers wherever they're watching us from today.
This is Punchline Africa Television, with its network, Punchline Radio, Punchline Africa, and the rest of all affiliates of Punchline Company, group of companies. Good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you very much. All our viewers, you have missed us for at least yesterday. There was a show, but it was from a different location, very far away from Nairobi. So there was nothing, but it was the best African kitchen so far, cooking that I did last night. Thank you very much. Best chicken roasted in a very good way.
I saw that.
Pollution.
I saw that, Doctor.
Yes.
Very mouth-watering there. I hope you kept a bit. It was very nice.
I've kept, no, honestly, Miriam, I can give you, to be very honest, I kept half for you.
Good, thank you. It was very nice.
I don't know how we can meet, but
it's okay.
Moses can give it to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Very watering, very good. And you know, eating it alone is also a very big crime. And that is what happened. And I couldn't finish. I said, let me keep something for Miriam. But good afternoon, viewers, wherever you are in Africa, in the world, in the Pacific, south of Sahara, down in Cape Town, Harare, Johannesburg, and in Maputo, west in Lagos, Abidjan. We lost the Prime Minister there who died of COVID-19. May his soul rest in peace. Remember, the people of Ivory Coast went through a very terrible time during the war. Is one of those who stood, one of the few faces of peace in Ivory Coast. We lost him. May his soul rest in peace. It is like a Uganda. There is only one man who has got the soul of peace, who can talk to you about peace. That is Dr. Ruakana Rugunda. The rest of them talk of a gun to finish you. I'm sorry, I'm starting on a tough note. But that is what Africa is. There's nobody, apart from that Rugunda, nobody there wants to talk peace with any rebel. So if you have been a rebel and you did not submit yourself to scrutiny of the amnesty that they gave, you are in big chaos. They have only one solution. Talk about Uganda, let's come back to Africa. Thank you very much, viewers. Africa, Kenya, here, COVID-19 updates. Yes, we want to see them. Miriam will bring us on the short figures and tell us where in Africa we are being paid the most. And the pain is seen in so many places in Africa. I am very, very one of the few people very worried about our change of behavior, which does not, if we don't change the behavior, I think we have a very big thing to go if we don't change the behavior. We need to change our behavior. We need to change the way we eat, the way we drink, the way we talk, the way we wash our hands. Our hygiene must change. Has the world changed? Yes. We need now to rebuild confidence in our industries. So we shall talk about that. Miriam will bring us the latest updates. To politics in Kenya. Is it unity or disunity? Yesterday, I saw two sides of the same angle, of the same coin, hammering each other in different rallies. Are we already in campaign mode in Kenya? Nobody is adhering to President Uhuru Kenyatta's way of uniting the country first. We are already with the headlines that you see here, which are going to be brought on your screen. We have a problem here. We have a problem because you started, Dr. William Ruto started the politics of Machiavelli. It all spoiled everything. Machiavellian politics destroyed Kenya, Miriam. And my statements, I told you from July 1st, my statements are as blank as that. If you hate me, shut my mouth, but don't kill me. Don't kill me, don't shoot me. Just tell me to shut my mouth, I will shut. I am Paul preaching in Judea. Yes, I'm Paul preaching in Judea. If people don't see my words, they will always be seen here. I don't know whether we are being seen or not. Are we on, Miriam?
We are on, Doctor, we are on.
I want to see that that first as I punch these points home. There are some points that you on, especially on this one, I punch them. You punch them in a different way, but me, I'm blank now. Dr. William Samoei Ruto started Machiavellian politics, spoiled this country. That's it. You can go to heaven and come back. You can give your items. We started it too early. We left Uhuru to dangle on his own in the Jubilee Party. Period. You want me to hide? No. That is what happened. Projects were not projects. Now we have a problem on our hands. The whole country cannot unite. We are going back to the mood of 2007, 2006 when campaigns were declared. 2007, 2008. That's the tension we are in now. People are beginning to look at each other as enemies. Politics of disunity and unity. Uhuru preaches unity. Ruto preaches disunity. So where are we? We are at crossroads. And that is it. That's the role of a journalist to say it. I'm not going to condemn. Beyond that, I'm going to state facts. Musalia was given money by George Soros. He has come back. He has built a Musalia foundation in Igirigiri. He's stuck on there. Yes. And if there is anything that anybody says he wants to hear, I tell it, I table the results. How much was it given? Yes. We don't do things like Mr. Itumbi. Easy amateur. I am the general myself. I'll get the documents, the checks, who signed, how much money has been pumped in Musalia Mudavadi's foundation in Girigiri. Yes. When was the foundation found? Why hasn't it been working? How many Kenyans have been helped by this foundation apart from politics? Show me. If there's a Kenyan who has got a scholarship from that foundation, show me. Where does the money come from? It's up to the government. I'm not a security agent. I'm just a journalist who follows international aspects. That's why they don't want to talk to who. The two groups, of course, who are going that direction are linked by a kingpin who is in annex. The building across, there's a man who used to work with George Soros. Yeah, he's there. In the summer, I can tell you, he's there. And he has linked. That's where the money is going. You can see all the people of NGOs running this side to His Excellency Dr. William Ruto. Why are the NGOs even very sympathetic? Have you ever seen Boniface Mwangi ever liking Ruto? But he likes him now because George Soros has given instructions. Ruko. So indeed, I agree with this headline. Yes, there could be tactics. And we who support Uhuru up to the end, I have no regrets. If he collapses, we collapse together. If he walks on the path of peace, unity, I will be a very proud African. I'm not a Kenyan, but I will come back here in my retirement age and say, yes, this is the country that we wanted. Mr. President, keep it going. Keep it going. This Amawingo yote inakuja because people have George Soros' money. Because they have backup of the money that is going to come in agencies, NGOs. Money is being pumped in to support, to buy things from the Indians on credit. Soon you will see some Indians going bankrupt. So follow the story. Any journalist outside there, let me take off my glasses so that I can talk nicely. Any journalist outside there, please follow the line. Some of these things are about tomorrow and they are returned. I'm summarizing this so that, Miriam, you don't go into these newspapers. You only read the COVID. Let me go back and see, why is it that everybody arrested for corruption here is with the deputy president? Don't you ask one question? Why? Why do you come to me when you have been arrested? Why don't you come to me and give me chicken when you have not been arrested? These are very serious questions the public must ask. Believe me or not. So Kenya faces those challenges. Unity or disunity. If you see what Angola, Mudavadi, they are on a disunited front, going home, discussing, breaking people into clans. Mudavadi has never impressed me. And don't blame me, blame Jesus and who gave me and the God who gave me the spirit to talk frankly. Yes, if God told me to be quiet, Miriam, I would be very, very quiet. But Mudavadi is a bishop who can preach in church. He stands on the periphery. Oh, the wananchi, the citizen. No, but you have never heard of giving a single citizen. No shirt, no shamba, no tractor, no horse, nothing. Ure! Just walking around with him, body mass. And it's not worth it. If I were them, if I were President Uhuru Kenyatta, forget it. Forge the unity. There's nobody among these who can beat Raila. Some people need to be told the truth. In the absence of some people to campaign, strategize, we people who know what Raila is, if we are on the other side, you can't beat Raila. Is it possible? You can't beat him. He has a constituency. Wacha tuambiane ya ukweli. Even if you go and divide where he has a constituency, Raila atawapiga. Subuhi tena saa 6. So do it. You know, now they have seen that is going to be very difficult, Miriam. And guess what they have brought? They have brought divisions within, Raila can team up. Some younger journalists who just have got one category, they are saying, I'm also a small essay for my... They ended up in chaos. Where can they team up? Team up and do what? You can never team up those two guys. All of them want power. You can't team them up. And in fact, if you team them up, the other group which will come this will remain in power. We live in power and win, then they will complain from the other side. So any analyst handling the Kenyan issue, Raila is not a man you can beat easily. So whatever preparations you prepare for the troop, as an audience, as a base, corruption in Kenya. We want to say starting from tomorrow, we shall be doing Good Morning, the legacy. We shall be looking at the cases of corruption on how much we have done. We are summarizing Kenya to run quickly. We have a lot of African, very deadly stories in Africa, including South Sudan, the peace, fragile peace. We are in chaos again. The peace is, oh my God. We have a story. Zimbabwe, Malawi, we have Cameroon, Biafra. The people are dying again. Libya, they want to divide it into two parts. Mogadishu, Faramijo loses the ground. You see, it's summarized. Our television is not like that one, that reads on prompter. We have it in our heads. That's the difference we make. We are not robots. We are real human beings. And I want to thank Miriam and my crew and the panel that is going to join. That's how we do things in Punchline Africa Television. Corruption, does it worry you that it is, corruption is embedded within the professional angle? I was reading a document from the former minister who was a presidential candidate who comes from Embu, Nyaga. He put, oh, you better read that. I will send it to you. He said the professionals, like lawyers, have become more corrupt than judges. They are the fixers. They fix this whole thing. Do you know that all these tenders are concluded by a lawyer at the end? You saw Mr. Waruke. There is a lawyer there who has been hammering money from the piracy, money in the sea. Pesa ya piracy. It was not too much. He came and hammered Waruke. It is not too much. 40 million. What work was he doing? Was he also fixing papers? Don't you think that this lawyer fixes papers to get 40 million? Which what analysts? What case is this that you are paid 40 million shillings? The criminal justice system of Kenya. Please change this criminal justice system. That's all I can tell you about corruption. If you want to fight corruption, change the criminal justice system. There is nothing much to say. All I can say, God will bless me, bless everybody, bless all the people. But don't underrate Raila Amolo Odinga. On ballot paper is as strong as outside the ballot paper. Mzee Raila Amolo Odinga struggled with Uhuru Kenyatta to unite this country. We want a united country. Uhuru Kenyatta wants a united Kenya. A Kenya that can deliver unity of purpose. A Kenya where the future generation will stand by us. A Kenya where a Luo and a Kikuyu, a Kalenji, a Masai does not call himself by tribe. A Kenya where you don't kill each other after elections or before elections or during elections. A Kenya that recognizes human dignity. A Kenya that we yearn for, that Africa anchors itself on the Republic of Kenya. There is no Africa without the Republic of Kenya. I tell you, if you go to Europe and say, where did you come from? Africa, where? Kenya. If you don't say you came from Kenya, nobody will give you food. I'm now telling you, every time you arrive at the Heathrow airport and you say Nairobi, even your driving license is increased there, you get a car, you can use Nairobi driving license to drive in London for at least 2 weeks. I'm trying to fix. We are growing big. Tomorrow we shall have Bungoma. This screen will be full of correspondence coming from every angle. Then we can battle with the mainstream. Yes, media. Thank you, Daniel Wesonga. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Matsanga, Professor Gerard Onyari, Miriam Mugutu, and our viewers across the country, the continent of Africa, and the globe at large. Good afternoon.
Okay. Onyango, I don't know whether you are on now. If you are not on, you will connect us. Don't worry. Maybe you are put there less bundles. So check. Fill the bundles. Fill the bundles. Thank you very much. Back to Miriam. Let's not waste much time to update us on COVID. As far as this is concerned, Miriam, it is over.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor, for that. So the latest statistics in Kenya right now, confirmed cases stands at 9,726 cases. The death toll is 184. Recoveries is at 2,832. Uganda, the cases is 1,025. Recoveries is 972. Zimbabwe, the cases is at 982. 18 people have died. Recovery stands at 320. South Sudan, 2,145 cases have been reported. 41 people have died. Recovery stands at 1,135. And South Africa, the leading country in Africa, stands at 264,184 cases. The death toll is 3,971. Recoveries is at 127,715. And then Nigeria, 31,987. The death toll is 724. Recoveries is 13,103. And then we move to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where we have 7,971 cases. The death toll is 189. Recoveries is 3,615. And Rwanda, confirmed cases is 1,299. 4 people have died. Recovery stands at 663. And Egypt, 81,158 cases, 3,769 deaths. Recoveries is at 23,876. And the total number of confirmed cases in the continent this afternoon stands at 523,782, and the number of deaths in Africa is 12,245, and recovery so far stands at 254,583, and the global cases right now are nearing 13 million, standing at 12.86 million globally, and of course the deaths right now are at 563,052, and recoveries are over 7 million there. So, Doctor, in a nutshell, that is where we are in Africa and indeed across the globe. And yesterday, so President Trump wear a mask in public for the first time. So perhaps that will encourage more people to do that. And yesterday, the United States recorded high numbers in one day. They recorded new cases at 60,000 new cases there. So COVID-19 is no joke.
Yes, thank you very much, Miriam. And thank you very much, my panel. Yes, for the first time in history, President Trump of the United States wore his mask. It means nobody fears, everybody fears death. Why did he not go there with his mouth, which he always gives up and insults Africans every minute and cancels their visa? One day you will be stateless. You will come to us, we will block your visa entry in Africa. Let me get power somewhere one day. Yes, you think you are the only one who has got the blood. One day, in fact, for me, if I became a president on this continent, somebody would pay $5,000 per visa to come and seek Africa. If you don't want to go and do it somewhere else. Like Kenya here. Kenya here has got enough things. If Kenya puts a visa for $5,000 per person, what will you do? It's my country. 5,000. Mzungu alipe 5. Ndio akuje kukula chakula yetu hapa mzuri na kuona a very good sunshine. Yes, Africa must start thinking. Why is it that we in Africa, we are given everything and they were not given? Go and ask God. Don't ask Matanga. Uliza Mungu. God gave us everything in Africa. They were not given. The sunshine is, they fight for it. We don't fight for sunshine. Why don't we tax these guys properly so that wajue na sisi tuko na wakili? You should tax them. 5,000 per visa. Utaona wazungu watakuja hapa class wazungu. Si wale wa jeans, wearing jeans here, walking in jeans. when they are in London and there are some places they sleep in and they are homeless. They don't even have a house. At least I have a house in London which I bought with my money. Wacha! Utanifukuza. Bought with cash. Wacha niambie watu. Watu wengine wanakuona hapa wanafikiri unaomba. No.
Yes, and Dr. Matsanga, I don't know why they have always to make it so difficult to visit, for African people actually to visit their countries. But for them, whenever they want to visit Africa, it's always a leeway, a very easy way to come here. But you try to go to, we have so many stories when you read about Kenyans who have been having struggles going abroad. It is very difficult to get visas to some of these countries. So I totally agree with your point on that. We have to tighten up the news. Yes,
Professor Onyali, me, you tell me.
You know, Dr. Masanga and Wesonga, I will not frame the feasters coming to Africa. Yes. I frame the African leadership. We have made it so to appear that we are lesser human beings that everybody can walk in. Mm-hmm. So the African leaders, African leadership, as being Pan-African, we are raising issues and they are listening that God gave Africa everything, and it is high time that we make use of everything that God gave us. You know, Dr. Masanga, if you walk to a restaurant here in Africa, even here in Nairobi, Amsungu, the chokora you are talking about comes in, the African will stop serving you. We have been all over the world, and these people we are all the same. So it is high time that we change our mindset and know that Africa,
yes,
we should treat ourselves in a way to be recognized. Otherwise, nobody will recognize us.
And on the end of that, Miriam and the panel, what annoys me most is the waiter or waitress comes to you, Mzee, sasa nini? You have scammed. No. The Muzungu, I am telling you, I have been to these hotels. I am a victim. Very big. When I arrive some hotels, people start clapping in the kitchen that he has arrived. Sababu iko kitu. I'm generous because God did not create me with money, but God created me with the little which I have to share with some people. My mother told me never. My mother, even up to now, if you go there, the little money that I've sent to her, she has kept it. And then when you call her now, she said, are you all right? Can I send this money back? That's the type of life we have. She wants to send the little money, 200,000, that this can help you. That is how we grew up. Mom, thank you for growing me up that way. I'm not stingy on money. Because money is a transaction. It goes and comes. If you can give it to people. I have brought up children and I've told them to struggle. I've put them to school. They went, everybody has a master's degree. So now, so what? You want me to keep my things for who? For who? Kama mimi meenda, nataka nikufe, watanizika mzuri. Sitaki mtu kupishana nyuma. My will is very clear. I took you to a place where there's a university, which is free, open 24 hours. Now you want me for what? Hiyo kitu ndio yangu, ile iko nayo yangu na bibi yangu. Not to you, not that's how my children are. Kila mtu kwake. Sikuje kwangu. Yes. We pay school fees for people to go to London. But I've delivered you in the place, in a pool where you can drink water, all of you. Sasa unataka kunipiga. Kupitu yangu kama mimi meenda. Hapana, usikanyage. You're sealed. Cha. Na sealed. Kuna mtu kushika hata kitu moja. So I agree with you. It is us, Africans, who have let ourselves down. Trump cancels the visas
for students. Who are in the United States right now.
Who are in the United States. Then you want to allow Trump to come here. Haki ya Mungu. Make sure that I don't get any power in this continent. Yes. Make sure. You think I will not? I am still alive. I might quietly be in power somewhere. Somewhere. Even if I'm not the head of state, I will be there. I am telling you, I'm determined. Mungu nisaidie. I will be there. Those who molest me, be prepared. Yes. Sasa tungoje, ukuje.
And I think
if you are not dressed very well at Entebbe Airport, huwezi kupita. Dress, go and wear a tie before you come. Wear like a champion here. Nakuja na jini kwetu. Why do you bring that here?
Yes, and I think that it's also a wake-up call to our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We have to come up with a very well-defined bilateral relations with some of these countries. We have to ensure that the flight that has gotten those students who are in America does not happen. If America wants to do business with us, if it does want to transact with us, then it has to show goodwill. It has to allow our students to go there and be able to acquire education, as well as also just to make it easier for Kenyans to acquire their visas going there. So I think the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should take that, and we should approach them as equal partners in this expedition.
Yeah, thank you very much. Back to you, Miriam. I think right now you brought in Trump. That's why we became very, very uncoordinated.
I know.
Yes. Let's come back now to the subject, and let's hammer this subject of Malawi. Introduce us into Malawi. We tear this guy, this so-called Christian, another Christian angel, useless from nepotism to cronism, to cronism to clanism. Clanism to family to zero. Yesterday, an accident finished almost. Have you seen? But I tell you, Africa is very bad. Then an accident almost finished the deputy president, the vice president of Malawi.
Chilima.
10 people died. Unaona hiyo? Mungu hataki hiyo. Wacha. That you are Christian and then you go and make such mistakes. Then you go and tell us Africans. You know, Miriam, before you started the subject, Joyce Banda went to own media, and I wanted the production team to check that article. It says he wants Uhuru Kenyatta, Ruto, and the Okapo 6 to be jailed. I wrote to Joyce Banda, and the letter is on my Pan-African Forum. I tell her, if you step in AU, in Addis Ababa, we are going on Thursday next week. Step there, I will arrest you. I told her, she did not turn up. She sent a huge tall vice president. I went for him on the floor of African Union outside there. I said, excuse me, are you the deputy president of Malawi? Yes, you are very bad people. That is how I have voted for Africa. I told him he's very tall, he's taller than me slightly by 4 inches. I said, you are the president, let's have dinner tonight, and I will pay for the dinner. But I want to tell you, your president is a thief. She wrote and she said she supports the ICC to lock Uhuru Kenyatta and the rest. That is Joyce Banda. And Kenya gave her asylum And she used our money here in Kilelesho. She has even forgotten she flies here every day. Bring that article, Mr. Stephen. It is on there. Bring it out.
Yes.
What was for me? Because some people think I talk lies. We have forgotten what we did to these guys. So Malawi, there is no good peace there. Over to you, Miriam.
All right, so Malawi's new president, Lazarus Chakwera, has responded to criticism of nepotism by saying that he had good reasons to select the cabinet that he did. He has included a husband and a wife duo, as well as people who are related to each other. There are also cabinet posts for some prominent business people, which has raised questions of conflict of interest. Now, the president's former running mate in 2019 elections, Siddiq Mir, has been appointed Minister for Transport, and his wife, Abida Mir, is the Deputy Minister for Lands. And Kenny Kandondo is the new Labour Minister, and his sister Kumbize Kandondo is the Health Minister. The president has also appointed the son of one of his allies and predecessors, Joyce Banda, and Mr. Chakwera said their test would not be who the ministers were, but whether they will deliver. So President Chakwera there responding to the criticism, of course, on Friday. He was set to speak to Malawians, and he said, forget about the names that you see there. Let's give them about 5 months and see if they're able to be delivered, and we can judge them on those bases. Is he right?
Where? Okay, let somebody else talk.
Yes, Miriam, one thing about politics. Politics, they say, is all about perception. What people see, how you constitute your cabinet as a president really matters. And the people of Malawi are really following this. You know, people cannot see a cabinet that reeks of nepotism and cronyism, and just imagine that these things have been done out of sheer meritocracy rather. So I think on his side, he's failing, and the image of the cabinet, the inaugural cabinet that he's giving the people of Malawi, should be able to reflect the diversity of the people of Malawi. It should be able to reflect people coming from different political divides, and also it should be able to reflect a meritocracy rather than being related to somebody. If you can pinpoint any member of the cabinet, you will hear that this one is a wife to this one, is maybe a former colleague to this one. Yes, that is not the right way he should do it. And of course, this is something that has really ruffled some feathers in Malawi already among the electorate that gave him the mandate. So as a leader, he should be able to listen to the voice of the people, the same voice that ascended him to power, and be able to reconstitute the cabinet. He should not hold tight to this pork barrel politics that he's doing right now. You cannot bulldoze on that.
Yes, and listening to the voice of the people, he seemed to have listened, but he did not perhaps hear what the people are saying, because he said critics may have a point. Both of them are accomplished politicians and in their own right. So he's saying as much as people are complaining there, Professor Onyari, but he's saying these are people who are accomplished, and what we should be worrying about is, are they able to deliver, and not how they are related.
Miriam, very unfortunate. And you know very well that I am a true Pan-Africanist. I believe in fairness. And to be very honest, my intuition was telling me that Chakwera is not would not be a good president for Malawi. It is not a question that it is people will serve. Yes, fine. We can have members from the same family, 31 of them, and they can do a good job, they can deliver. But is it that what you want? I've kept on asking who bewitched the African leaders, who bewitched the African people. Remember, inclusivity is a problem in Kenya. You mean that it doesn't read what's happening in Africa and other regions? You can't go and appoint people using the criteria of family, region, and marital ties. It has never happened in history. It will never happen again. And I'm sure I heard him talk about that he is responsible to God and the people of Malawi. Which God are you still talking about? Which people about Malawi is talking about, and the people are demonstrating. And let me tell you, modern leadership, it is participatory. You cannot succeed if you don't listen to people. People have got a right to be informed of what's happening. People have got a right to be involved. People have got a right to be consulted. People have got a right to say on how they want to be governed. The era which Chakwera is thinking about is gone. It will never happen in a modern Malawi, in a modern society. Justice is not supposed to be seen. It must be seen to happen.
Yes.
I hate discussing about this one, and I get out of my mind when I hear that you can bring a wife and a husband to the cabinet,
and a brother and a sister and somebody and their cousin.
It can't work.
Yes.
That is an insult
to the people of Malawi.
Dr. Masanga.
Yes.
To the people of Malawi, as Dr. Masanga puts it.
Yes.
And you can now see when those people who have got an agenda for regime change in Africa, they don't mean well for the continent of Africa. Because their masters are elsewhere. They are answerable to them and not answerable to the people of Africa. So on this one, Dr. Chakwera has gotten it wrong. And the sooner he repeats, because
so we were
only a fool cannot change his mind.
We were hoping that he will do that on Friday, but Doctor, he says he has very good reasons.
He was talking about 6 months. Never 6 months. Who can give him 6 months? We want him to reverse the decision now.
Now, yes, and Doctor, he said that he has very good reasons as to why he selected the cabinet the way he did. Can we give him a benefit of a doubt? Are we judging too soon, or should we just play blind to the obvious nepotism?
A cabinet from one region.
70% of the back of his
cabinet
supporters.
From one region.
Yes, central part of Malawi, yes.
Yes, the rest of Malawi is useless. They go to Lake Malawi and sink. Why doesn't he collect them and put them in Lake Malawi? Why? If he thinks they don't matter, he likes their vote. Mutharika got 2.2 to 2.5 million votes. You got 3.2 million votes. Hello? He has the people. He can tell these people to rebel. Yes, what will you do? Countries in Africa have gone into war. When Konyi went to the bush in northern Uganda, he had only 3, 4, 5 guns. Museveni went to bush with 17 guns. Didn't he overturn a mighty army? Didn't he? You Africans don't listen. Museveni had 17 guns. He overturned our government. We went running with pajamas only out of Uganda. And we used to tell, we used to tell Dr. Milton Obote that this is something wrong here, correct? He says, no, that is my son. I will talk to him. Are we now? 35 years, we are here. Some of us, grace of God, we are here. We lost the government because of elections, bad election, bad choice, bad selection of your strategy. Chakwera, in 1995, I met him. And no, I don't want to discuss here because it's painful. He has just repeated what Kamuzi Banda did. That's it. Leave it to Kamuzi Banda. Yes, Malawi Congress Party has a history of very dangerous traits. And it will be very soon. I studied political science and let the Malawans, they also have degrees like I have. What will you do? Utadu? What? Will you revoke it? Like, do I need to come to your place? For what? Is there anything in Lilongwe which is not in Nairobi? Or Harare? Yeah? or Dar es Salaam, what will you do? What? You pretend to be a Christian. Be a Christian. Be a Christian throughout. Don't tell a lie here, then use a Bible here. Use a Bible here, then Hamadi people here. How can you bring only women, men, women, under your calicos? Huh? That's why Africa, that country, you will see. It won't take 6 months before there is an insurgency. I'm telling you. The following day, the man took oath. The following day, the guy decided to remove immunity. When we in Africa, we are advocating for immunity. If a president in Africa has worked so hard, whatever he commits, leave him to go and rest. My disagreement with Besigye, and I want to tell Ugandans who are watching, is this, is recrimination. That's my disagreement. He's my friend. He found me in opposition. Can he say he didn't find me? Can he say he did not work for Museveni? He worked. I have never worked for Museveni for even 1 minute. But my disagreement with Besigye is when he says, when we take over power, we shall that we shall do everything change. How do you change people who have grown in knowing Museveni? Will you kill all of them? When you say that, you threaten the president, and the president will not relinquish power. When you do the president in Africa, the way they did it to Mr. Hosni Mubarak, you saw his army general, his friends came and rescued him. No, now see no. Have you charged Mubarak? Did you charge Mubarak? Did you charge Mubarak? Didn't Assisi, his fellow commander, came and threw the man who put Mubarak in jail, died and went to heaven or hell? The leader of Muslim Brotherhood, a terrorist group that kills people around the world. Who is the head of the Al-Qaeda in the world? He's an Egyptian. You people didn't know? Don't you know that the head of Al-Qaeda today, after Osama bin Laden died, is an Egyptian? He's the one commanding the people who slaughter us every day here. Leo nawaambia kitu mzuri sana. You heard me. And when you take power, Miriam, and then you say, we shall see. That's why I disagree with the opposition in Uganda. Let me remain alone. Let me not even take part. When you say you are going to make sure Museveni pays for the crime, are you God? Wewe ndio Mungu. Wewe ndio Mungu. Mr. Besigye was working for Museveni. Can you also explain it to us? How many of our force aborted back people who died?
He was his personal doctor.
Who? We have seen a lot. I don't want to cry tears here. I was the commander of FOBA. I don't want to cry tears. I don't want to hear anybody to say we repay, we revenge. Yeah. That one in my heart, even if you are my best friend, I will walk away. And that's why I don't want to take part. My children have grown. They are taking part in the constituency. One of them will be in parliament. My constituency, when I direct, they will vote him. Not David Masanda. Yes. They see me talk here, they think I have one who is going to contest anarchism. He will be there, he will win. You don't win that seat without this mouth. If I have not said, give this one, my people are watching. So not me, I don't want it. Because the politics of you saying, when you win, you remove immunity from Mutharika. 5 years come, you lose. Mutharika also removed immunity. Where will Africa be, my panel?
And yes, and yeah, Professor Nyari, are we holding Lazarus Chakwera at a higher standard because he's a man of the cloth? And people expected a bit better from him compared to the rest of the leaders?
I told you, the white men came to Africa with a Bible. They told us to close our eyes. When we opened our eyes, all our land was gone. Chakwera has come with the Bible and the cloth. When we have opened our eyes, what have we seen? Family members, regional members, marital members with marital ties. Is that the man who carries the Bible? That's why I'm posing my question there. It is not high standard. He does not behave like a man of God. Because God cannot allow him to do what he has done. And even what you see, Dr. Masanga becoming very bitter. When you take power, you don't look behind. You forge ahead. I am a firm believer of forgiveness and reconciliation. We have to reconcile. And there are so many case studies from Africa, cases from Africa, you can be able to learn from. I've talked about the politics of inclusivity. Bring everybody on the table, and every voice matters. Don't assume that you can override people and take. So there are no standards we are charging him on because there were never standards.
All right, okay.
I think I am told our Kisumu correspondent says readmit him on his live. Aromba Onyango is saying, please, production team, Miriam, tell them.
Yes, they're listening, and Steve is working on that. Daniel, we've seen this, and it has brought a lot of problems, what President Lazarus Chakwera there did. Has he learned anything from what Doctor has said and what Professor has said there? Has he learned anything about certain situations here in Africa and what really causes chaos and disharmony in a country when you have 70% of your appointments coming from your own backyard and your supporters? And yet when he was giving this speech, he said he's trying to create united Malawi. Is this the way to go? And has he learned anything from the chaos that have been happening in this continent that has emanated from nepotism, cronyism, and clanism and things like that?
Yes, from my perspective, I think Chakwera is living in a world so long overtaken by events, and he needs to wake up to reality. He needs to know that the kind of voters who are voting today in Malawi in 2020 are not the kind of voters who voted some 10 years ago. These are voters who are very, very much awake to the hour of the day, and they really know what they want, and that's why we had some resentment. Immediately he announced the cabinet. So he needs to go back, as I said earlier, instead and be able to reconstitute that cabinet to be able to reflect the national outlook, the socio-political outlook of the country, so that he is able to quell those quarrels that are already eating into his administration. And secondly, Professor Gerard Onyari has talked about religion. And Miriam, I'll tell you for a fact, the worst thing that could ever happen to our country or any society is being pushed into religious dogma. And that so many leaders have known how to perfect that art of keeping their followers in that kind of scenario where they cannot be able to ask because there's a high authority which has directed a leader to act in this and that way. And you saw Adolf Hitler used that the Nazi party, the German Nazi party was like a religion, some kind of religion. If you go to this West African leader, he was called Mali guy, the Gambia guy, he was telling the people that Jame, he was telling the people that Jame was telling the people that Allah had told him to rule Gambia for 100 years, and he had some kind of a mystic deity following, like people are following religiously, and he believed even he could heal some diseases like HIV and all kind of diseases. If you go to North Korea, that is what the Kim dynasty does. It is some kind of religion. These people are preaching. Yes. It's a cultic following. And so if you see Chakwera now saying that he's only responsible to God, this is a man who is not even ready to be counter-checked. This is a man who is not ready to take responsibility. And what I foresee in the future, I see a very strong arm government in Malawi where people will be crushed. There will be no human rights in Malawi. People will not be allowed to talk their minds because the president believes he can have his he can have his cake and eat it, and no one can really come in between him and power because God has directed so and so and so. So it's a very bad. We have started on a very bad foot.
All right, and one of our viewers here, Oduhomoy, you're saying, I don't think the newly elected president of Malawi understands the Bible. The Bible is the book of salvation and forgiveness. And so there you go, just reiterating what Dr. and Professor there has said. So I think now we should move to our next country, which is Zimbabwe. I don't know if we've been able to get our next guest on board, Stephen. They're working on that.
Before you move to Zimbabwe media,
yes,
there's one caution I want to make. Regarding Kenya. In 1970, Dr. Milton Obote found Idi Amin culpable of having stolen ivory from Congo and the gold. He had evidence.
Hello.
He had evidence. And when that evidence was tabled to him, he kept on dilly-dallying. And remind me tomorrow, because we are handling that. Miriam, please, you are my diary, very good diary keeper. Remind me tomorrow, that when you get evidence of serious crimes against a man who is so powerful, who wants power so much, hallelujah, hallelujah, deal with him, with it, day under day. You have evidence of corruption. You are dilly-dallying. Idi Amin came to power on the day I was carrying my suitcase to enter senior secondary school 1. My father left me. I looked at him, leaving me in a taxi to say, find your way to Manjas High School. I didn't know. That's how I began to be as bad, as good as I am with good eyes today. I just found Tororo. My father disappeared in the bush. My own father. Because ahead there were roadblocks waiting to kill anybody. And his name was on the list of those who were Uganda People's Congress members, permanent life. My dad told me, 25th January, Tuesday, Hinakumbuka, the day sank in my stomach up to today. Now, why I'm bringing this before we go to Zimbabwe? Miriam, let's be careful. If you have evidence, don't create another Idi Amin. That's all I can leave there.
All right. Thank you. And Kalisa.
I will not finish the flavor.
Yes.
For tomorrow. Because tomorrow is, I hope Professor should be around.
I hope
it will be do and die. Do or die. Do or die tomorrow. We are going to name. Forget about this stupid thing. That system yawa. Uko na akili ya system watu wewe. But go to school before you do system. Wachana na system. Enda shule. Shule inafunguliwa. Universities are open. Professor is here lacking a job. He wants to teach students. Are you not a professor?
Yes, I need students.
Yes, so collect Itumbi as one of your students. I think Onyango and the professor and the William, you have picked what I'm saying. If you have evidence on Idi Amin, charge him. Don't dilly-dally. Because especially when you hear that Idi Amin is making another government instead of your government.
Your point is very clear.
Yes, nakwambia, me, I am a foreigner. And I said the truth. If you don't want me, I am Paul who is preaching in Judea. I return to my, whatever it is, keep quiet. If you have evidence, pin these guys.
And
then let's go to Zimbabwe. No.
Yes. Before you go to Zimbabwe, Kalistas Lumula, one of our viewers, is saying politics of revenge and vindictiveness has never succeeded. When God gives you a chance to lead, just do what is good for the people. This is why I did not agree with Raila Group when they were crying for Moi's blood in 2002. We loved Kibaki because he refused to listen to them. He gave Moi peace. That's statesmanship. I'm happy Raila realized this and he has embraced statesmanship. This has saved Kenya. Okay, very well then, and thank you so much, Bismarck. Continue writing on the rest of it.
Before you move, there is breaking news.
What has happened?
News just coming in right now. Unknown masked goons have just broken into the office for the Kenya. And it is on, they are battling, they are broken into. Maybe these are supporters. It is here. It has just come in. Wetangula is somewhere, I don't know where he is, but the office has been taken over. I told you, politics of unity and disunity. There you are.
But Doctor, the issue of Fort Kenya, it's something that was very, very much timely. If you read whatever the new Pacific Party leader, Wafula Wamnyinyi, is speaking about, then those are gravely issues that have been boiling over time and have gone unaddressed. So it is happening because this was the very right time for it to happen. And I think Wetangula's time at the helm of Fort Kenya is up at the moment.
And I want to just post that conversation and I want to postpone it to tomorrow morning. Now let's just get to Zimbabwe and Doctor.
And I send you the video. It's here, live. Because you might think I'm joking. Let me send the production team the video. Sam, you have it. Don't send, David did not send it. They are there now, wearing a uniform, armed. Na kila kitu. Unajua, unaona siasa. It's what I'm preaching in Kenya. I'm telling you. You think I'm lying. There you are. God vindicates me every time, Mama. Judah, chaplain, help me, pray for me.
Well, I will pray. I do pray for you.
Thank you. I don't know if our other panelists have joined us. Mr. Onyango from Kisumu was supposed to join us. I guess they're working on that still. So now in Zimbabwe, there has been a report that now indicates that it is clear that the opposition outfit has been an active participant to Zimbabwe's suffering while making promises of rescuing them. And Doctor, you have been very, consistent with this. Apparently, the opposition of Zimbabwe is the one that is working to continue making the lives of Zimbabweans there very difficult. How true are these reports?
100% true. 100% true. They called for sanctions against Mugabe. Miriam, there's a book I have shown you while I'm looking back. I don't know who has taken my book again. There's a book of Morgan Changarai. Well, yes. In this book is where the genesis of Zimbabwe is. At my deep end, Morgan Changarai, at the deep end is here, where Songai and you yourselves, in this book on page 53, it summarizes what Matsanga and the Changarai relationship was. Let me carry it like this. Because I disorganized it from being published, he wrote a full chapter about me. Because I was fighting for the people of Zimbabwe to have no sanctions. Changarai came and said I was being used by Mugabe. I was almost lost my life because of Zimbabwe. And I still stand firm. I told him one day, and I asked God, when we meet around there, separate me from his room. And the chaplain is on this panel. Pray for me so that we are separated. This one, this man and the Kofi Annan, I've told you, separate us. Because even up there, we could finish each other. I fought this guy until he brought so many things against me. And he wrote a full chapter here, which you can pick and read. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And Morgan Changarai. Mm-hmm. Now that you brought him, yes.
God bless him, I have no revenge. I'm not Chakwera. I will forgive him, but I will ask God to separate us, not to sit near each other first. Because you never know, we could begin a war. Two, it is the Zimbabwe opposition that is creating chaos for that country. People in Africa have tried to remove sanctions, but the same opposition goes back and say, don't remove sanctions. Tells America not to remove sanctions. Mm-hmm. Time has come, and I told you, Miriam, I will not comment again on this subject, that let's bust sanctions. Mm-hmm. That is the President Mnangagwa look for a way, and let this be one of my smaller takeaway. Look for a way of busting sanctions. Don't beg, don't ask America anymore. We are past the stage. That is what Professor Onyani has told us here. We are our own problem. Why do we beg them? Let's carry our gold and the diamond in a plane, deliver to one African country and say, brother, go and sell for me this gold in Dubai and bring me $200 million. I buy hospital beds and the medicines. We shall do that. Don't beg these guys again. I was talking to another Zimbabwe younger man who has not read too much, useless. He said, oh, no, you have used the word beg. Yes, we are begging. We have been begging.
Secretly and open.
Literally begging every day. Oh, AU, we are begging. Remove sanctions. No!
That's, yeah. The young Zimbabwean perhaps have not seen the letter that the Minister of Finance there wrote to the World Bank and also IMF, literally begging for them to forgive Zimbabwe a lot of the debts and also just to come in and help Zimbabwe. And also, now that you brought in Morgan Changarai, he is in record as he's one of the people who was pushing for Britain to lobby the European Union to take a common position on sanctions, and also they're part of perhaps Zimbabweans there who are his supporters that say he helped in building democracy and just fighting for the democratic space there in Zimbabwe. Professor Nyari.
Yeah, My urge to Dr. Masanga is to forgive, especially the deaf who cannot defend themselves. By the fact that you will find them to heaven, they repented, and that's why they will be there. So sinners or people with a very bad heart will never meet in heaven. Maybe you will meet in hell. I don't know what you do in hell. So forgive. This is what I have to say to the current situation in Zimbabwe. They entered power promising political reforms. They promised that they will bring wave of investment. But what have we seen? Painful economic measures have been imposed. We have seen the army deployed to violently quell the protests. So what I want to tell the President Manawawa is that he has to change the strategy. What you promise, what comes from your mouth, you must be very careful. Because the same people whom they connived to get Pope out of power are the same people who have started the problem. So what I want to say is that, and you know, Pope died a bitter man. He did not have time to have peace with him or ask for forgiveness, and he took it for granted. Even Mugabe said, even in death, he said that they should not go there. So we are Africans and we know these kind of things. So the way Dr. Masanga is saying that the president for Zimbabwe and the people of Malawi, they have to change their strategy. They have to live by their promises they promised the people. And it is not so difficult to say that we promise this, but it is not attainable. And regardless what your country is, don't go outside there to put sanctions against your country. You know, remember, I reconcile and mediate among people. It is very important that they sit down, bring their issues and agenda to the table, and see how they are going to take Zimbabwe forward. By the way, we have never known Zimbabwe is a country blessed with mineral resources, blessed with climate, good soils. So what they need to do is to embrace dialogue. They have to talk among the Zimbabwean people and see where they talk to their country. They have to pull toward the same direction, not against the other. That's how they can be able to come out of this. Otherwise, the public squad you are seeing there, the military are now turning against him. The guarantors of the regime have taken care interest because their interests are not being met. This is what's going to be undoing to the people of Zimbabwe. So he has to change his political strategy. Otherwise, the honeymoon time is gone.
It's over. I don't know if President Mnangagwa really enjoyed any honeymoon there, because he took over a country that was really going through a lot of troubles there. And you mentioned very well, and we know that Zimbabwe is among the heavily sanctioned countries in the world, the likes of Iran and others that have received so much sanctions, especially from the Western world. What my question would be today: has Africans or has African countries done enough to support Zimbabwe and to help Zimbabwe? The way Doctor is saying that it's time that Zimbabwe busted the sanctions, and that will mean that perhaps Zimbabwe now should open itself to trading with other African countries. But because of these sanctions, other African countries might be scared because of the repercussions that might come to that in regards to their own interest with the Western world there. So, Daniel, how can Zimbabwe bust these sanctions or go around them? And has African countries done enough to help Zimbabwe? If so, what else can we do in line with perhaps the repercussions that might come from that?
Yes, Miriam, of course, Dr. Matsanga has been quite engrossed in this issue of Zimbabwe, and he has talked about it more than any other topic on this television. And on the last time we talked here, he suggested a way where we could go around these sanctions. You understand that the sanctions have been holding the door of Zimbabwe to the outside market quite closed for quite some time, and it is time Zimbabwe sought the help of its African allies to keep this door ajar so that resources can be able to flow out of Zimbabwe and be able, money, income to build hospitals, schools, roads, and other infrastructure be able to trickle back in Zimbabwe. It's not a must that Zimbabwe does business directly with these people who have shown no willingness to lift the sanctions. And rather, what Dr. Masanga has been suggesting is that Zimbabwe can use African allies, people who bear the same interest as them. People who have seen Zimbabwe suffer and feel that enough is enough, can offer a helping hand through the Pan-African spirit and be able to open the door for Zimbabweans. And maybe, Miriam, under your permission, if you could give me just a few seconds to comment on the
because of the interest of time,
political scenario. Yes, so I tend to look at it at twofold, in twofold perspective. One, President Emerson Mnangagwa, as you said, took over the country when the political temperatures were a bit high and the country was vastly divided. And one thing, as a politician of very high intuition, he needs to make sure that he unites the country, but also remember to annihilate any kind of rebellion, to check on the law number 15 of power, to destroy all these dissident forces that have been cropping up to oppose him and try to paint the country and the leadership in a very bad way. And on the other side also, to Chamisa and his party, is it called the MDF?
MDC party.
They should know that, yes, they should know that if you are seeking to acquire the highest office of the land and through your formula, there's an equation to disdain your country and really paint a bad picture of its leadership and its well-being, then as same you are not equal to that very, very task that you are seeking. So let them seek better avenues to pursue power. Let them not make Zimbabweans suffer because they are after power. After all, in Africa, it seems that only the opposition comes up because their side of bread is not buttered, but it's not always a genuine concern of the people to champion these policies that they always masquerade to be championing. That is my take, Miriam.
All right, thank you. And Doctor, we've seen and we know from the reports that we've been receiving there from Zimbabwe, there is an increased level of corruption there. And we've seen President Mnangagwa has been firing a couple of his ministers. The other day, I think he fired the Minister of Health. And now, just last week, a report came out that there's a farm that was given the tender to bring in the COVID-19 equipment and all that the country badly needs. So this company overcharged some of these things, and the owner of that company is a very close friend to Mnangagwa's, I think, son, so one of those things. So now that is also another scandal, and you've seen a lot of his cabinet are facing a mirage of other, scandals in terms of corruption there. Is it time that President Mnangagwa went back to the drawing board and see, okay, fine, as much as I've been trying to do this, it's not working. So perhaps it is time, perhaps I surrounded myself with a different team who can help me rebuild Zimbabwe. And also I look at another strategy that can help the country and also appeal to the international community as much as would like Zimbabwe to, burst these sanctions. At the end of the day, the world is a big, village. So we are interconnected whether we like it or not. But we also know there are issues of him being a presidential candidate through ZANU-PF. We know the Western world still have a problem with ZANU-PF and the history it has in that country. And Mnangagwa himself worked with the late President Mugabe there for a long time. So that also is a factor there. So the reason why they don't want or they're not ready to support his leadership is just a convergence of a lot of reasons that and history that he has, President Mnangagwa himself. So Doctor, should Mnangagwa perhaps look at the people that is placing at the helm of leadership in the different ministries and the different capacities there to help him in trying to have Zimbabwe in a recovery path?
Anybody blaming President Mnangagwa is either not able to read the history of Zimbabwe or doesn't know it. That's point one. And I would just like to seek people to get more information from me. Zimbabwe locks up their corrupt ministers. They sack them. I want Mr. Professor Nyali to show me where we have been dilly-dallying with a man here whom we mention every day. Onyani. We mention him every day, and even some people go to the toilet to mention the name. They don't mention it like we are doing it on right here. He goes to the toilet, he said the name, that's the name. No! Zimbabwe sucks. Mnangagwa has sacked like
so many of them.
Arrested, sacked, and charged. They sleep in jail. The Minister of Health slept in jail, sacked. Another minister, sacked. Another one, 3. They don't joke. They have put people down there. They are looking for Moyo. Here. He's somewhere here hidden. Because with Zimbabwe, corruption is not tolerated. Of course, the darker forces that are against Emerson will paint a picture that corruption is rampant in order to accelerate the United States sanctions. One of the reasons why the United States has put sanctions on Zimbabwe is because Zimbabwe does not allow demonstrations. Does Trump allow demonstrations? Is Trump not beating up people? Why doesn't Trump allow people to demolish his statue, even burning his building, which is the highest in New York, so that there is democracy? Why does he want one thing for Africa and another thing for America?
Double standards.
Yes, when the shoe is paining him in America, he cries out. But when the shoe is paining Zimbabweans, he says, do it. Ban it. We shall not accept.
All right, Dr.
I am a Mnangagwa supporter. And I want to tell you, he doesn't pay me. But he has been my friend for 21 years. You don't buy friendship. Mnangagwa and Uhuru Kenyatta, Chikwete, Magufuli, Thabo Mbeki. Have you seen my boys? My people who know me, when they see me in the crowd, they catch my hand. Because they know people, the security will not allow them to go where they are going. So when the president is catching your hand, which security can stop you? So these are friends. Rio, Chisano, Obasanjo. Although I don't like him.
What? You're friends with Obasanjo?
Yes, I don't like him. But when he sees me in a crowd, you know he has got that sense of liking me. He knows that Matanga is standing here and the security will not allow him to follow us. Come, Matanga, Kagame. Those are my head presidents who catch me. You know, I stand on the middle there, innocent. We used to be in power, now power is gone. Innocent. But when they see me, they say, Pan-African, come. Mukono. No security can stop you. Paka utaenda unakaa karibu uko na president. So Mnangagwa is my friend. I will not, you can discuss, I will not stop it. But I will defend the truth. If he is not, he has tried. And the one thing that I want to tell you, Zimbabwe has got the best mindset on the African continent. They accept traffic light robots. They don't jump lights. They are not like us in East Africa who jump lights. And even bang the cars ahead of us. No, Zimbabweans have a very good mindset. Give them a credit. That's why AIDS, COVID-19 has been checked properly. And these are people who have no masks, who are struggling to get masks. But we people who have plenty of masks, which are being produced freely, you see what we are having now.
We don't listen to
Mutahe Kagwe. We call him, give me 2 Mutahe Kagwes. You are drinking. Ndio yo, kitu yo iko kali. So, Zimbabwe has discipline. We want to urge Mr. Mnangagwa, President Mnangagwa, my friend, he's tackling this. Give him a chance. But when you tackle and the country is not selling, is not able to have $1, has been stopped from having $1 million, which is very difficult. So let's look what he has done. He has done a very good job. He has allowed freedom of speech, of assembly, of publication. There are over 200 newspapers daily in Zimbabwe publishing, even insulting him. Even video. Someone even tried to put a very bad video on no, could you do that under Mugabe? No. You could be collected from your house with matching orders until we meet near the God. Yes. So some of these things, or the crocodiles can visit you a bit in Zambezi. You know, Zambezi is affected the river. Yes. So he has done very well. He has tried. But now let's speak with one voice. Let's not have the voice of people wait and see Thomases, doubting Thomases. Let's speak with one voice. I think that is all I can conclude. Right. And then we move on to the next topic. We don't have much time.
Let's move to Somalia now and the election fiasco. Presidents from Somalia's federal member states, FMS, are meeting today in the central town of Dusamareb in the Galmudug region. Now, reports indicate that the key issues to be discussed with the federal representatives are the electoral process and relations with the federal government. There has been reports of tensions between the regional leaders and the President Abdullahi Farmajo-led federal government in Mogadishu. Now, the host president, Ahmed Abdi Karie, posted on Twitter that the consultative meeting is for leaders to have a unified position on national elections. Late last month, Elections Commission's head, Halima Ismail Ibrahim, told the federal lawmakers that prevailing conditions made it impossible to hold the polls. She also said that the earliest an election could be held in the country was in March 2021. Now, in her address to the lower house of parliament, she presented 2 options. The first one is an election based on biometric registration, which will be possible in August 2021, or a manual-based registration that can be held in March 2021. Very interesting scenarios there. So what we are getting there from the electoral commissions there in Somalia is that elections will not be possible to be held today because Somalia was supposed to go to its elections today due to some prevailing conditions there in Somalia. So what is very interesting, Doctor, it appears a lot of people are going the Ugandan way, and now they want to have some, what I'm seeing is some scientific sort of elections here. He's saying that elections can be done through biometric registration. I don't understand, because even Kenya, we are struggling with that. So Somalia is saying, you know what, this is something that we could hack.
First of all, let me tell you, I wish it disrupted.
That's a bad wish, Doctor.
Yes. I don't want to add any more. I hate the Prime Minister. I hate the President. I don't, not hate in a bad way. I don't like their policies. They have killed the policy of why our troops are in Somalia. So the 2 I predicted here, and Mr. Daniel is my witness. You are also my witness. I told you Harriet, Prime Minister Harriet and President Faramicho will not read together. Didn't I say that? They are not together. This man sold the oil blocks. The Prime Minister sold the oil blocks. You have forgotten what is eating Somali politics. It's the oil, is the island, the 10 blocks, which has been sold already Huge money has been exchanging hands. And whoever becomes the president in the next 5 years is the kingpin. So the prime minister, the former prime minister, wants to stand at the current prime minister wants election now so that he takes over. Then he can finish the job in ICJ. Other people have come back and have said, why can't we talk to Kenya? Finish up this matter without going that route. That's one plan. Second plan, one group supports terrorists. Faramijo and the director of NISA know what they are doing with negotiations. The other group of the prime minister does not want this, the type of negotiations that are taking place in Doha and Take my serious intelligence. So they have disagreed. Faramijo wants to leave some sort of unity through the pressure of a Faki of Eritrea and Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia. By the way, we forgot Ethiopia tomorrow. They are bringing all opposition leaders in court. Ethiopia is under siege. The capital city, you can't have internet. You can only go to African Union. Then you have internet. Tomorrow, opposition leaders, more protests coming. So there is a problem here. When you see America refusing to gazette Al-Shabaab as terrorist group, Miriam, have too many questions in your mind. There's not even a finished much time on this country.
Yes.
My brothers might have different comments.
Yes.
But for me, we are done. Let them break. Break.
Very well. Professor.
That government is not worth it.
All right. So the government that Dr. Matsanga there is praying that it breaks.
Yeah.
And we've been putting our blood, sweat, and effort there to ensure that we help it. Will that be counterproductive to the efforts that other countries have been making to support Somalia? Should they break apart and cause more chaos that will spill over to the rest of us?
Somalia has been and is really struggling to come out from being a failed state. And I have been on record, let me just repeat, that the world will get tired with Somalia. So the sooner they put their acts together and decide on what to do with their country, the better. The mandate of the government of Somalia was to rebuild their country, was to reconstruct their country, was to ensure that all directions. Because if they don't add direction the way they are saying they postpone for 13 months, that is even when they are making it worse for them. So Somalia has to re-examine themselves, and Somalia, the way it thinks that it can go far without Kenya, they tell themselves a lie. Among the countries neighboring Somalia, we have done what's humanly possible. Even the government they talk of, it was constituted here in Nairobi. So what they need to do, they should make use of Kenya, because we are going to give up. Because hata punda wakati mwingine uchoka ukataa kubeba mzigo. So let them not push ourselves, and the international communities, other countries in the world have got the respective things to do with their countries. So when you see like Kenya, we go an extra mile to try to help them, to assist them. They should make that good gesture. Because even the 13 months they are talking about security, and they don't have nice feelings about ammunition or the Kenya Defense Forces. So it means the insecurity, which they are using as an excuse, will continue to deteriorate, and the resemblance of a government they have had, it will just slip off. So they should make use of the A country like Kenya, we mean well. Even the dispute, imagine what an insult to call Kenya, you take it to the international court. How much of our resources, how much our time have we spent to ensure that they have got a government? So that's what I have to tell them. Let them put their acts together and even go and have those sham elections, because you cannot sustain yourself in the power knowing very well you are a failed state.
All right.
They should be able to rebuild their country and reconstruct their country. And the power to decide where they take Somalia is on their hands.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And Daniel, sometimes back, I think last year, the Somalia Electoral Commission was receiving some training from the Ugandan Electoral Commission, was training their Somalia counterpart there on how to do proper elections, which until today I find it very, 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 very interesting for obvious reasons. And now we see they're coming up with this thing of biometric registration. And Uganda is also talking about scientific registration. They sound just about the same thing. Is Somalia learning, or is it being influenced from when it comes to these elections? Are you seeing anything there, any coloration or coincidence?
Yes.
Miriam. Before Daniel comes, let's fix Uganda and Somalia together. Since you have talked about scientific, because of our time is not. Can we do that, please?
Yeah, but could Daniel just respond and then we move on, because I wanted us to finish with that and then we enter into another country just quickly.
Yeah.
Yes. Miriam, my point on Somalia and Uganda is that two blind men can never lead each other. And of course, Dr. Matsanga and Professor Gerard Onyari have talked quite critically on the issue of Somalia. And these are not just mere sentiments, but these are sentiments built on knowledge and conceit. And of course, Somalia has been very, very much dependent on Kenya. We have been like a big brother to Somalia. We have our AMISOM, our KDF soldiers there trying to bring things together, trying to restore Somalia back from the lawlessness that has encroached it since 1991 during the fall of the former president. And of course, Somalia in return has not given back an olive branch. They have been they've shown a lot of contempt for Kenya, and in some worst case scenario, they have even gone to bed with perceived nemesis in the region. The other day, they sided with Djibouti voting at the UN Security Council. So these are actions that are really provocative. And if they have chosen a path of self-destruction, then as Kenya, we have just to wash our hands like Pontius Pilate did and leave everything to them. Let them do whatever they want. We've tried, other African countries have tried, but the resolution for Somalia to come back to peace really rests with the people of Somalia and the leadership of Somalia. So I think the other panelists, Dr. Matsanga and Professor Jared Onyari, have really summed it up well, and I don't have much to add on that.
All right, so let's just leave that alone. Thank you so much. And John Clark, you're thinking that Somalians are the most complicated people on the planet. I don't know what you mean there, but thank you for that, and thank you for watching also Bismarck Bura there. So we move to Uganda, and of course it is scientific election in Uganda, and in June, the Electoral Commission of Uganda launched a new roadmap for the 2021 general elections. The most controversial pronouncement was that the process, including campaigns and polling, will be scientific. In his words, the Electoral Commission's chairman said that mass rallies will not be allowed, but campaigns will be conducted mainly through media. This means that people will not be allowed to congregate in one area, irrespective of any preventative measures employed. As expected, this was received with mixed reactions, and while the ruling party, the National Resistance Movement, did not find anything strange with the declaration, the opposition came out strongly to reject it, with some threatening never to participate in such a joke of an electoral process. So even the opposition there in Uganda, Doctor, they're thinking this must be the biggest joke in the history of Uganda's independence, I suppose.
If we can't even manufacture a needle, and we have been independent for 57 years, coming to 58, then you tell me you can hold a scientific election. it is only people who did not study properly in politics and political science who can conduct. That's one. Who can engage. That's two. Who can participate. That's three. Who can become bride and bridegroom. Who can become maids at a wedding, and who can escort a gerrymandered, the state of gerrymandering. Who can accept, because a scientific election will bring my country to chaos. That's all I have. I like President Museveni for having fought COVID-19.
But it stops there.
I like President Museveni for having sent troops to Somalia. I like President Museveni for being a Pan-African, for having stood together with me, two of us, and in Africa on the question of Libya. I like President Museveni for having made Karamoja very safe, that today they grow crops instead of us giving us and milking us like parasites. They now also give us food. They don't steal animals. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I like the president for having done education. I like the president for having accepted to bring an end to the northern Uganda war. The conflict, we brought it to an end. Our people live as a family. The Professor Onyari no revenge attitude ended. I like the president for being an East African. He wants an integrated East Africa. But on this one, on elections, scientific, don't blame him, blame the parliament. Article, the clear article of the Ugandan constitution is very clear. The MPs of the parliament of Uganda just are money makers, not thinkers. Binotemuli, I'm sorry. How could you think when there is an emergency, they should, you can't, on this one, don't blame Museveni. Again, I'm always honest. You know, I am honest on this one. Miriam, I will not take much time. Don't blame him. Blame the MP and the parliament. From March, they saw an emergency of COVID-19. Under the Ugandan constitution, they would have moved to parliament and asked the speaker, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, aware of the consequences, aware of the pandemic, uncertainty, and whereas, you know, there's good English from Makerere University, but we don't use it. That's why I'm above that. I am above that. And I want to tell you the truth. I am above that. Mm-hmm. Don't you see what language you should have used? To the Speaker of Parliament, Madam Speaker Kadaga, our country is facing a problem. Our country doesn't know the timetable of COVID-19, when it will end, how it will end, who will end it. Therefore, we move to amend. Have you heard the language?
Very well,
Madam?
Yes.
We move to amend the Constitution of Republic of Uganda, that we leave the Constitution intact and leave the president intact. Have you seen this? Leave the president intact. You are not changing the term. You now safeguard the president also. That you don't know when this COVID-19 will end. So you don't touch President Museveni's term. It remains intact. The president remains there until COVID-19 is over. You are not violating the Constitution. You are moving to clear the way. Now the MPs went on sleeping. They slept.
All
the
right.
things buckled. Yes. Now you can't blame Museveni. No.
Okay.
You know, for me, I talk the truth, Akiamu. And this truth, it will kill me. Will kill me. You can't blame President Museveni now. How do you blame him? They went to Parliament. They brought the motion too late. This would have been seen in January, in February. The motion would have sailed through, and you change that provision that no election will be held, and the president's term is protected
Until the elections are able to be held.
Yes, it means the president has not, the parliament has not finished his term, but this is emergency, which we cannot control, and therefore we return the emergency powers to the current person in power until we resume normality.
Very well.
We behaved normally when the thing was behaving normal.
But Doctor, in March, nobody would have thought that in July we will still be dealing with COVID-19.
They saw. The Parliament of Uganda has never gone to recess. They never went to recess. The only thing they did was to leave the building and go to the field, the football pitch where they put a tent.
Very well, Doctor.
They have never gone to recess. So from March, if I was in that parliament, I would have moved the motion to preserve the country from a political, constitutional crisis.
That it finds itself now.
President Museveni can see me now. I am fit to be the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Uganda.
Because the one they have right now cannot even travel to the United Nations. Doctor, we have to move forward. We have to move on. We have to move on because of time. It's already 4.
Yes,
and we have other countries to look at. So maybe just yes.
No, wait a bit. This is my time for me to bring such a intelligent proposal.
Yes.
This is the only time I can utilize it. They will give me 1 minute, 1 minute.
Okay.
So that I can utilize it. If that motion was brought, our nation will not have a scientific election. In short, scientific election will bring us George Soros on the streets of Kampala. And you are my witnesses. I've said it here. The president, if you have good eyes, look here. Look at me. I'm able.
President Museveni, please look for Dr. Matsanga. He could be of great help to your government there in Uganda. Doctor, thank you so much. And you've said it so much, and you've given us a better background. Now we understand. So, Professor Nyari, quickly, the opposition is saying that should these scientific elections go ahead, it will not meet any basic tenets of free, fair, and credible elections because it will leave out a proportion of the electorate, especially with regards to interacting with the candidates. As we know, the nature of elections and campaigning, not just in Africa, but across the world, I think physical presence there usually means a lot to the electorate. So he's saying these scientific campaigns in media, in radio, in television, in social media might not really be effective. And as we know, the media in Uganda is highly controlled by the state. So it is already a disadvantage to the opposition party. So how do you see these scientific elections happening there in Uganda, if at all they will even happen?
Yeah. Let me tell you, a good actor knows when to leave the stage.
He's not leaving.
Museveni has done very good for Uganda, but still there are men and women in Uganda who will do a better job than Museveni. Miriam, let us ask ourselves a very good question. What is the internet coverage in Uganda? In the simple terms, that is a clear way of rigging the election. I am coming from a point of saying that don't take people for granted. The generation of Uganda consists of the young people who never knew how they struggle to be where they are. Don't take people for granted. Involve people. COVID-19 has come. Let all the leaders in Uganda, both in opposition and in government, sit together and agree what they do with their country now that there's a pandemic. Then they will come up. Let not a few people just imagine that they will go and say there is a cure. On that one, I differ with Dr. Masanga. Involve people, they amend the constitution, they leave the president intact until we have sorted out with this pandemic. But don't just assume that you can go change the constitution to put someone in power. So we cannot have a clear, credible, and fair election with scientific. That is a simple thinking of saying that that is already a rigged elections. And a rigged election will bring problems to our brothers in Uganda. So the route here is involve the opposition, involve those people in government, let them agree what they need to do with their country. Don't take it for granted. Involve them.
Very well said there. Thank you so much.
I think I better correct one notion, Miriam.
Okay,
please.
Quickly. Yes.
Where is the professor disagreeing with me? You are not disagreeing with me, Prof. What I said is what you have said. Securing the country is to secure the time. Yeah, because what is worrying President Museveni is his term of office ends in February.
As
so
in the Constitution.
we secure his term of office that he did not complete and secure the country. He remains the president. Change that clause that can be sorted out in emergency. Yes.
Okay.
And we secure the country.
Thank you for correcting that.
Yes. That's why Plateau Republic, Socrates,
yes.
Aristotle,
that's how we
that's way back. Karl Marx.
All right.
Started this.
Doctor,
like
thank you for that correction. You're saying the same thing. I think maybe he heard it differently, but it's just
I don't know why Onyari is disagreeing.
Thank you.
I'm saying involve people.
Yes.
I'm
involve all the players. He should involve all the players.
The people you cannot hold a referendum now. That's what you are meaning.
He meant involve all the stakeholders in politics and just come have a round table with the Electoral Commission and talk to them and agree.
It is the parliament. The stakeholders are the parliament.
And let them agree on a way forward.
We have over 590 members of parliament.
Okay. All right. Let's just leave that alone. Yes.
People do you want to involve?
Okay. All right. So Daniel.
Involving the people means a referendum. We should have secured our nation.
He said involving other opposition
and secure our
leaders.
President to remain a president in terms of emergency. Other than going for a crisis.
Dr. Masanga,
all right, can we just move
agree or
forward?
Not agree with me? That is a simple way of rigging an election if we are talking about scientific.
I am not
saying I want a scientific election. What's wrong with Champlain today? Champlain.
All right.
The Bible too much. I am saying the scientific election, Miriam, will bring us George Soros on the streets of Kampala.
That is also true.
Yes.
But Daniel, so the opposition is saying that this will be a joke of all on the electoral process of Uganda, which already we know has been, there was some, reforms that were supposed to be done that was ordered after the other elections that have not really taken place. But adding to this scientific election that the Electoral Commission in Uganda, they're saying, the opposition responded by saying this is a joke of an election. And I don't know, what do you make of that? And then we move to South Sudan, and we also look at, we still have another 3-4 countries to look at, yes?
Yes, Miriam, I think Uganda has lost glory under President Museveni, and for a country which was known as the Pearl of Africa, has now over years become the laughing stock of Africa. The reason being that President Museveni has overstayed in power, and he has been shifting goalposts every now and then just to elongate his mandate in office. And of course, this coming election, as you said, the opposition has already felt that it's not going to be credible. It's going to be a fraud, because an election, Miriam, is not a one-day event. An election starts from the registration of voters throughout the sensitization and education of voters on electoral matters, and the campaign up to the day the vote is cast, the votes are counted, and the results are announced. That is the electoral process. So if we say that we are going to do a scientific election, are we ready for this kind of election? Do we have capacity? Do we have systems? Do we have human power that can be able to oversee this kind of an election? The answer is no, and Dr. Matsanga and Professor Jared Onyari have been talking about this. We as Africa, if we cannot even produce basic stuff, it took COVID-19 for us to start producing our own face masks, to start producing some simple things like hand sanitizers. So when a question of scientific election is thrown in our court, then probably that is not going to happen, and that election will only be for cosmetics, for sure. But the real thing happening behind the scene is that this election will be a fraud. It will be flawed. It will not be a free, fair, and democratic election. That is my parting shot, Miriam.
And I keep asking, I don't know.
And I think Mr. Wesonga give us a credit. Don't say we are.
Okay, thank you. I want us to leave the Uganda.
We have taken the troops to Somalia. We are the first people. If we had been given time,
Doctor, we appreciate.
We could have crushed these Somalis.
Yes.
No. Give us credit. Don't call us that we have lost glory. Which glory? Glory, we have it. We have
it's just the elections. It's just the elections and democracy that has been.
For us,
I am
yes.
But I give President Museveni a credit for having sent troops to save your neighbor.
That is the glory. That is the glory.
That is a good glory. Okay, now Somalia also wants to have scientific election after the Electoral Commission have been trained by the Ugandan Electoral Commission. It's very interesting times here. Now we move to South Sudan, where the fragile peace needs money to maintain. And President Salva Kiir has called on his partners in the transition government to exercise political reciprocity to resolve all the pending issues in the 2018 revitalized peace agreement. He warned that without timely political concessions, the parties risk failing the agreement and the people of South Sudan. President Kiir reminded the nation of the concessions he made when he accepted to work with the leader of SPLM-IO, Dr. Riek Machar, and by agreeing to dissolve the 32 states, paving way for the formation of the unity government in February 2020. In his 9th July remarks, the president affirmed his full commitment towards the implementation of the peace agreement. Kiir acknowledged that peace implementation remains painfully slow and far behind public expectations, and financial constraints is one of the reasons for this. And the 9th of July, by the way, as South Sudan gets to celebrate its independence that they got there in 2011. Doctor, we need money to maintain the peace, the fragile peace there in South Sudan. How far are they doing so far?
I want to be on record. as a Pan-African to plead with the world to give, and I think, Miriam, let's not waste much time on this, to plead, and I want to ask the chaplain and the investigative journalists to support me on this. A fragile peace is as bad as a war. So aware that the South Sudan peace is in tatters, cognizant of the fact that such fragility could destroy this region, we want to make a resolution on this national television that the world comes in to support President Salva Kiir and the government to implement the peace process. I don't think any peace-loving person, Chaplain Professor Onyari, will disagree with me. They might have their own problems internally, they might have greed, they might have corruption, they might have taken, but now the world should look at South Sudan specifically, give them money to sustain the fragile peace process so that it doesn't break down. And that is why I am appealing the United Nations Security Council, Kenya being a member of the Security Council, to take this step forward and create an environment where a donor conference is held either in Belgium, Germany, London, or elsewhere, so that the world can donate, can put money in a kit that will help the fragile peace process
in South
of
Sudan.
South Sudan.
And Dr.
If we don't do that, we are done.
And you brought up a couple of things there. You're saying, yeah, there could be some level of greed and also there could be some level of corruption. Dr. Onyari, are these not factors enough that might make the international players shy away from helping South Sudan?
Dr. Masanga pleaded with me that I don't disagree with him on this.
And please don't, because I don't want us to go here another one hour.
But I want to speak. I want to speak this with a lot of passion, and I mean well for Southern Sudan, and every peaceful, loving person should support. But the question which you need to ask yourself when they were signing the peace agreement, compromise peace agreement, who was brought to the table? Question number one. Two, when they have gone to implement that compromise peace agreement, how have they done it? We have done nepotism, bringing their people, and other people have just repaired on because other rebels, leaders, they have said that they were not part of it. That's why when I talk about total involvement of the people, I know what I'm going to talk about. Bring them over a long table, even if they are going to speak nothing, but they are there. But be it as it may now, we have got a child with us. Him, it is the resources they lack. We cannot now tell them, oh, you go and do the right way, go and done it. If it is, they are saying it is the money that they lack. I agree with Dr. Masanga that the resources should be availed so that they implement that compromise peace agreement. And for heaven's sake, I hope the Salva Kiir and Dek Machar and the people of Sudan are listening to me. The world will get tired to be on your supportive. We have done everything possible as the world to give you a new nation. Please put your acts together, swallow your bride. As the bride comes from the mouth, swallow some and spit some. Build your country. Let me also take this media to appeal the world. Please provide the resources for the people of Southern Sudan. The more than 400,000 people who are killed, more than the 4 million who are refugees, they want to return back to their country. And that's what you can be able to do to them, are fair resources for the implementation of that compromise agreement.
Thank you so much there for that appeal, and I think you totally agree with what Dr. Matsanga said there earlier. Daniel, is it about time South Sudan fixed its own affairs so that it's easier for the rest of the international community to come in and help and put structures in place even for accountability? The other day, last week, I had a news item here. I was reading about the revenues that are being collected in South Sudan. Only the oil money can be accounted for. Other forms of revenues, they are directed towards our personal accounts. So if the international communities keep reading stories like this, is this helping South Sudan?
Yes, Miriam, first of all, I would like to walk in the same path as Dr. David Matsanga and Professor Jared Onyari on this one. And of course, South Sudan is Africa's youngest child, just born less than 2 decades ago. And of course, as a young child, they are still walking in this baby step. They are still in the learning process. And the world has to come together. African countries have to come together and hold the hand of this child and be able to guide them in the right directions. When a child makes a mistake, you should not desert the child to go on the path of destruction. Rather, as a parent, you should come on and give the correct guidance. And of course, that also comes with assistance in terms of financial assistance, just to make sure that they can be able to fend for themselves and be able to have somewhere to lean on. So I agree strongly with Dr. Matsanga and Professor Jared Onyari. Regardless of whatever problems South Sudan is facing, we have to understand that they're in the learning phase. It's just a new state. There's a possibility that they'll stumble upon problem after the other. But of course, they have to have their own mechanisms on how to solve their own internal issues. But as the outside world, as the African continent, we need to help them where need calls. We need to help them financially. The international community needs to come in and be able to help people of South Sudan form this country and bring peace to this Africa's youngest nation. But of course, we've highlighted before the issue of tribalism in South Sudan. Now that rests with the people of South Sudan and their leadership. They have also to realize as a child that there are things that you can be helped to solve, but there are things you can solve yourself. Things like tribalism, those are internal issues that they need to come together and really forge a way on how to eradicate them out of their society. They need to stamp it out of their national fabric and be able to forge a very common future that will bring.
All right.
So my thought on South Sudan, the international community and Africa at large need to overlook this small problem that the people of South Sudan have. Let them focus on the bigger picture, and that is
stability and peace in South Sudan. All right, we seem to be having a problem with the signal there, but thank you so much, Daniel. I think your point is clear there. We move to Mali, and there seems to be some...
Before you go to Mali, one summary.
All right.
Professor Nyari, the truth is, the agreement, the peace process was wrongly designed. So we lost time there. But now is not the time to recriminate. Now this is not the time to do recrimination, to accuse. This is the time to save the country. We must save the peace process. We must ask the international community. President Salva Kiir has come out, Dr. Riek Machar has come out to tell you that there is no money to sustain the soldiers who are in the canton area that where they are assembling.
Containment areas, yes.
Containment areas. The DDR must work. So DDR to work, it needs money. I am a peace mechanism man, resolution guy. I know what DDR is. There is a lot of money involved. We must help and drum up support for the people of South Sudan, for the government of South Sudan. Condemnation at this hour does not help. We shall come later on. We missed one step already. That's why we are talking about 384,000 people slaughtered. We missed the stage. Obasanjo conned us. Obasanjo is a con man who conned us in this peace process. We gave him time to go and investigate. who did what in South Sudan. Obasanjo did not come back to tell us the truth. He brought us a report which is like a lukewarm, warmless.
Water.
Cold.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right, thank you so much, Doctor. Now we can move to Mali and perhaps another president that might need some help there. At Mali's embattled president has announced the dissolution of the Constitutional Court in a bid to calm the civil unrest gripping the vulnerable African country as more opposition leaders have been arrested. Now, the court have been at the center of controversy since it overturned provisional results for a parliamentary poll earlier this year, triggering protests in several cities that on Friday descended into violence. Clashes raged in the capital Bamako on Saturday as demonstrators, angered by long-running security issues, economic wars and perceived government corruption, demanded the resignation of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. Now, following a long-delayed parliamentary poll in March, which Keïta's party won, the court overturned the provisional results for 30 seats, a move that saw several members of Keïta's party elected and is widely viewed as having ignited the latest crisis. The 75-year-old president has been in power since 2013, had already suggested last week that new constitutional court judges could revisit that decision. So we saw also the opposition going to parliament, banning the entrance of parliament. They entered parliament, grounds, but they were not able to go inside of parliament there. A lot of agitation in Mali. Professor. Professor.
I go.
All right.
Professor still engineering his machine.
Very well.
Mali is at the brink of regime change. President Keïta, you see, part of, if there is anybody doubting me, is Paul preaching in Judea, and if President Museveni can hear me, the product of COVID-19 election is what we see in Mali streets. Everybody told the President Keïta not to hold an election at all. And he went ahead to hold an election. This election, this refusal to hold an election has destroyed one president in Africa. He's gone to the Mecca. You know him. He defied every regulation of COVID-19 regulation.
Nkurunziza, yes, he did.
Allowed people to mix. Some of them came to his house singing songs with hot air, which went to go to the lungs. Now you saw what happened. We lost Nkurunziza, a vibrant young man, a vibrant fighter, a freedom fighter who had struggled to bring peace in Burundi. Let's not force things. Keïta in Mali forced things. And you tell me what is happening in Mali today. The streets are in chaos. Opposition leaders are being mowed down with bullets. Arrests are going on. Ethiopia, look at the Ethiopian capital. It is in chaos. Tension, diplomats there, white diplomats from Europe are calling me to help them. They can't ring out. They have to go to AU to ring out because there is chaos there. George Soros knocked the door. Mali, George Soros, the French just, those who disagree with David Matsanga, watch the space here. Look at what the French have done in Mali. They knew they don't like a Keïta. At the same time, Keïta has been their man, helping them to steal.
They helped him come in. They helped Keïta after that coup that happened.
Yes, that's why I'm telling you. Now they have used him enough. They went aside and called Mr. George Soros that where Maliza kazi equal. Nyenye mjui, any student of international relations, listen to my mouth. public, there is no subject called international relations. It is international interests. And when your child brings a certificate home, tear it to pieces. Because it doesn't give you studied it by mistake, like me. Oh, sorry. But what I saw there is sorry. Even I am now saying, oh my, mama, sorry. Because the French have just kept off and allowed George Soros. They paid the demonstrators. Millions don't leave the streets of Bamako. You chase them, they come back. You chase them, they come back. So the president, because the president did not listen to advice, people told him don't hold an election now. Postpone the election.
But
no scientific election can be held and become peaceful.
So as much as we would like to blame the COVID-19 on the situation here in Mali, but actually the polls went on very well. Very peaceful. So after the polls, about over 30 members of parliament, who majority of them are from the opposition. Matter of fact, they are all from the opposition party. The IEBC of Mali declared them winners. The provisional results showed that. But the Constitutional Court overturned these wins, and that is what has brought Malawi where it is. Bad polls. And manipulation. Because if the Electoral Commission had declared these people winners, why did the Constitutional Court overturn these wins? Because that is the problem that has brought protest.
Because there is only one obligation in constitutionalism. And as a school on constitutionalism is the Electoral Commission in French-speaking countries has no power to declare the final tally. The constitution of Mali is the same as the constitution of Gabon. You remember, the leader of opposition in Gabon said he had won. The Constitutional Court said no. You had no powers to even talk about elections. It nullified. The opposition in Gabon went and burned down the entire parliament and the entire Supreme Court. If you had gone to Gabon, you would know that country had very beautiful buildings. The Constitution of Ivory Coast, what plunged Ivory Coast into chaos, is a French-speaking country, is Babugo, relied on the Constitutional Court. Ouattara relied on the French. The Constitutional Court of Ivory Coast ruled that Babugo was duly elected. You remember? And he was the president. Ouattara came with the support of NGOs and other malcontents like Kofi Annan and so on. They plunged that country into chaos. So Mali constitution, even if the Electoral Commission does, I read it last night because I knew this was going to come. Even if the constitution, the Electoral Commission announces the results, the final power lies with the Constitutional Court.
So as you speak right now, of course, the President has announced the dissolution of the Constitutional Court in a bid to calm the unrest, and he's put new people in place. And now he's saying that the new Constitutional Court judges could revisit that decision. What does this say about independence of very, very important institutions like this one here in Africa? I don't know if Professor is back on.
Yeah. Let me just beg to agree with Dr. Masanga on this, because he has actually handled the topic very well.
He has, yes.
Thank you.
But let me just have this to say. The situation in Mali now, they didn't listen to the fore is that you don't head election. He went ahead to all the election, and be it as it may, this is what we see. So they have to save their country because they created a loophole for George Soros to come in and pursue his agenda of regime change around the world. I've looked at it. He has been trying to give them, let them just constitute a government of national unity, and they don't want to listen to that. Then it tells you there is someone who is fueling this situation from somewhere. They have to decide what to do with their country. And even trying to think that the president trying to nullify the election so that not to comply with what the Constitutional Court has said. Remember, what we are now after is returning the country into normalcy. So on that one, I agree with the president. If nullifying that decision of the Constitutional Court will bring normalcy to Mali, they are the way to go. But the people of Mali, both the opposition and the government, remember, you pursue the agenda up to the end. Remember, you have got a country to make intact. But it's very unfortunate that our opposition leaders have given room for George Soros, who has got a regime agenda around the world, to do this. Remember, Dr. Masanga said that the powers, be the Western powers, can support you. They support you when they know what they are going to get. When they find out that they cannot get what they want, they will turn away and they leave you on your own. But on this, I'm with the president, and if that one will bring peace, that is the route to take. But it's very important to listen to experts the way we are trying to say. And the way Dr. Masanga said that we don't have international relations. We have got international interests. When you see someone supporting from outside, it is because he has seen some interest. His interest will be catered. And the way we say that in politics, there's no permanent enemy. But by what?
Permanent interest.
Political interest.
All right. Thank you. Thank you there. And I'd like
for us. And finally, on that, quick one, it is the same thing that almost happened in Malawi. Because our constitutions are either Westminster or American or French. It's the same thing that happened in Kenya. Why do we waste money to go through IEBC? Let's give IEBC the new, that's what BBI wants. Give IEBC the final statement. Once they have said, you failed, you failed. That's why there's, you're a conflict resolution expert. Let's listen carefully. Why did Kenya want to go to blows? Kenya went to blow because we have given half power here. Unaleta this tall man from Nyamira who cannot spell his own shadow. And you place him as a chief justice. What will he do? He will damage you.
Doctor, our constitution is very progressive, so we don't want to go back to the days of Kanu.
Miriam, I have given you very clear.
Progressive, so we should grow forward, not go back.
Okay. Why is South Africa constitution not interfering with elections?
That is a different kind of constitution.
But I am now telling you, let's try to change the constitution to avoid a clash. That's all. South African constitution, once the electoral body of South Africa has been, your votes have been counted. Because the system from the bottom is already clean. Umesikia mzee ndugu yangu? What Miriam mama, the system is clean. Hakuna uchafu.
We should adopt
there is that. The South African Constitutional Court does not involve itself in this punky hank. The president is elected. The game is over. But everywhere in Africa, after election,
chaos.
Then we go to add corruption. We run to corrupt system like that of Justice Mwiru and Justice Maraga. We ended up begging them, what for? What for?
Okay.
And it has caused conflict. Look at, go home and study this tonight. All African countries where there has been war, it has emanated from an election.
Correct.
If I'm wrong, Katonda Wange, just come and pick me, God.
All right, Doctor, thank you so much. Oh, we're way past the time, so I want us to go through the rest of it.
Okay, don't worry.
Yes.
Let's do that and finish for the people.
So the last of Biafra, yes. So the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, on Saturday disagreed with the statement credited to the special advisor of President Muhammadu Buhari on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, who said that President Muhammadu Buhari is not against the people of Biafra. Kanu described such a statement as a complete falsehood, adding that it can only deceive the gullible, but certainly not those familiar with the history. The IPOB leader, who spoke in a statement by his media and publicity secretary, maintained that Biafran citizens had suffered enough persecution and killings at slightest provocation on several occasions. So we saw the media and publicity secretary there for President Buhari coming out and saying, no, President Buhari is not against the people of Biafra. What is Buhari saying? Is he ready to give the referendum, or what is he suggesting here?
He has to leave a legacy. He's fighting to leave a legacy. And he's going to give in. The type of heinous crimes that are committed in Biafra cannot be documented on this television. It is high time that he agreed on a way forward through a referendum for the people to decide. There is need for rearranging Nigeria. If you want West Africa to be stable, rearrange Nigeria, reorganize Nigeria. Nigeria was a cobbled territory delivered under the colonial rule given to Britain, where they just, cobbled boundaries and put two distinct nations. Biafra had its own type of life. If you look at the life of those added on Biafra, it doesn't match. The earlier you give them their life, the better for Africa and the West Africa and ECOWAS. The time bomb looms around Biafra. The killings, the slaughter, the torture of the younger men, the torture of the younger Biafrans by both the security agencies, in Onitsha, in Enugu, in Port Harcourt, in southeastern Nigeria, must stop. And let's not shy, let's not keep quiet about talking about it. Nyerere, Obote, Kaunda, Haile Selassie, and the other African heads of state talked about it, solved the war in 1967. We must solve the killings, the sufferings of the people of Biafra. That's my contribution.
All right, thank you so much. And Professor Nyari, lastly, Dr. Rightfully there mentioned that the stability of West African region, or the Sahel region as it is, lies with stability in Nigeria. And we've seen, the spread of Boko Haram from Nigeria, which has provided Boko Haram a very fertile ground for growth. And now it has spread in so many other countries that are quite affected: Mali, Niger, Cameroon, and Burkina Faso, and other countries that are really suffering. So that's whatever doctor is saying. It seems to be, something that those countries around there should take very seriously. If Nigeria continues to be unstable and insecurity continues to be rife there, then that part of the world will not know stability, because they're suffering right now. And also the issue of Biafra, if you can put that together moving forward. President Buhari is saying that he's not really against, Biafra people. So in essence, is he saying that he will be supporting the referendum that the people from that part of Nigeria has been asking for in order to become independent?
Thank you. Last time I did pronounce myself, and someone who criticized me that he said that I was talking out of Noah, or a point of not understanding Biafra. When it comes to issue of self-determination, Miriam, count on me that what people are asking is only a simple thing. Give us an opportunity to decide whether we are going to be part of Nigeria or we are going to be independent on our own. Let the people of Biafra be given that opportunity. What's going on in Biafra, the way Dr. Masanga has put it, we cannot even stay here. But once people are focused that this is what they need, no matter how long it takes, they will achieve it. So a stable Nigeria is a stable region of West Africa, the ECOWAS. So the only my recommendation, and that's what I need to tell the world, tell the authorities of Nigeria. First, I don't agree with Buhari. I don't know whether it's honest. He's only doing politics, because there is more than trying that the people of Biafra, the Igbo must be sliced down to lie like the envelopes. So my take here is around the people of Biafra, call a referendum. If they decide to be part of Nigeria, be it. If they decide to be self-independent, give them that opportunity. Because when people start asking for self-determination, it means you are not treating them well. You are not giving them equal opportunity. Resources are not distributed well. So my take here is give them the opportunity to call self-referendum and determine which part of Nigeria would they want to be.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you there, Dr. David Matsanga. Daniel Awesonga left the conversation a few minutes ago. I think perhaps...
We didn't put Cameroon.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the time now. Perhaps can we look at Cameroon, because we took so much time in the first. Cameroon and Libya tomorrow, because this is a continuing situation, and maybe we can look at it during either diaspora dispatches or diplomatic leaks around there. We can get a topic around that, especially the Libya war there. So thank you so much, Dr. David Matsanga from the Political Command Center. Thank you so much, Professor Onyari, for your time, and Wesonga, who left the conversation a bit earlier. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Let's meet here next Sunday for another African Showdown, where we get to look at the situations across different African countries and try to address some of these issues and bring the attention to the world about some things that happen in this continent. And me and Dr. Matsanga and also Professor Onyari, we shall see you here tomorrow for the Daytime Express and also other shows that we'll have a lineup for you. My name is Miriam Ogutu. A very good evening to you. Doctor, do you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to tell you that tomorrow, don't forget, we are working on corruption extensively on the legacy trend. We want to know why we have not jailed any big fish. We have only jailed chicken thief and matoke eaters. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And of course, Waluke has started off with the big fish, so we expect more to follow suit. Thank you so much. We'll see you here tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.